Back in December, Regent put a number on the table. It called 2026 their breakthrough year. With sea trials underway, US Coast Guard certification moving, and their backlog of orders climbing. Buried in the middle of all of that was one specific promise: get Viceroy off the foils and into actual full ground effect flight. Not floating or taxiing, flying. That was the thing the whole year was supposed to hinge on. We're 6 months in now. Let's see how much actually happens and how much is still a press release. Welcome to One Wingspan Above, and my name is Paul Dutch. The factory is real at least. On June the 16th, they opened a 23,700 square meter production facility at Quonsat's Business Park. It is where the structural assembly, wing and hydrofoil integration, and battery install will take place, including a waterfront test line so nothing has to touch a public road between build and launch. This is not a rendering, but a genuine capital commitment. There's money behind it, north of $10 billion in orders across 6 continents, $15 million from the Marine Corps. Yamato Transport took an equity stake, plus DHL UAE got an MOU signed. Whether that backlog converts into actual delivered craft is a separate question, but the production line itself is ready to go. Then Squire flew, which is the part of the story nobody had circled on their calendar. April 13th, the autonomous defense variant becomes the first defense-specific wing craft to fly in US soil. Of course, the Squire had flown before, but it had been remarketed specifically for defense. By early June, they had gotten to 130 km an hour in testing, and are working on stretching the range past 185 km. But the thing they actually promised us, the Viceroy, still hasn't done the thing that Regent had promised would be doing. So the thing they actually said they do, Viceroy's still out in the bay, still in sea trials, still working towards that crude transition to fly ground effect flights sometime later this year, which is the same vague timeline they had given in December, but then just 6 months later. Squire's flight gives them a data point that the physics work on a Regent airframe, sure, but the 23-kilogram autonomous drone and a 12-passenger craft carrying people are not the same problem, and Regent knows that better than anyone. Squire has got his own hurdles too, not just victory laps. A full-size test has been set for early August, and even a swarm demo, multiple units flying together, at Silent Swarm 26 later this month. Both are meaningfully harder than they've already pulled off, and neither has happened yet. Monarch is the other one worth watching, because Regent said so little about it. It would carry 50 to 100 passengers, and it didn't even get to mention their own factory press release. This could mean that they're saving the reveal for later, but it could just as easily mean it's further out than the roadmap suggests. The one hard commitment on record is Monarch's sold to United Marine Egypt by 2030, which is 4 years away. And certification still is certification. Slow, procedural, unglamorous. USCoastGuard is treating the Seaglider as a vessel, and that process is moving, but moving and done are different words. And this is the piece that actually has to close before any of this becomes a real commercial service instead of a string of test flights. So the factory is built. The defense drone is flying, but the flagship is still not doing the one thing Regent said it would do this year, though it's closer than it was. That's a fair way to leave it. There is real progress, but with real gaps, and a company that's good at making sure you hear about the wins louder than the parts still in progress. We'll be checking back once Viceroy actually makes that transition, because until then, the headline promise is still open. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time, and keep on skimming.